Welcome back. You're with Money, 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 and this week we're talking about the fine print when it comes to your mutual fund investments. So, Feroze, we've spoken about a lot of interesting things, including churn, the commission model, etc. Now, let's talk about forgotten investments. There might be, the odd folio, the odd ELSS scheme that you started at some point, forgot, maybe you didn't update your KYC details. What can an investor do to retrieve some of these investments?
See, in the journey of investing, it generally happens some small investments get left out because it's said that almost about 10 to 12,000 crores out of the 16 lakh crore industry of mutual funds, this 10,000, 12,000 crores don't have the right addresses, right PAN numbers, right bank account details. So these are not traceable. So there is currently a mechanism with the depository to search and get a consolidated statement from NSDL and CDSL, which are depositories. So retrieving that statement for your own names, they do a name search and figure out, and then come to a narrower band of identical names, and then they use email ID to filter it down. So you can actually do an audit to figure out whether there is any contribution of this unclaimed money of yours, which is by the virtue of having invested in small amounts long back.
So, I mean, as an investor, if you suddenly remember that, okay, there was that odd scheme, which perhaps you're not contributing to anymore, but it's an old investment, then can you approach the AMC directly? Should you be approaching the depository?
See, when you have forgotten a portfolio in mutual fund, unlike a bank account, it does not go dormant. Okay, it remains alive till the scheme remains alive. So an investor does not have to do anything different to actually get the money which he has forgotten of. He just discovers it and in a normal course can redeem it, add more, subtract, whatever he wishes to do. It's only that if you don't know the folio number of the investment and you vaguely remember that I actually invested 20,000 but I don't know which asset management company, because there are 42, 43 asset management companies. You can't, if you don't remember the scheme or the fund house name, or the fund house now has changed the promoter and the name itself has changed. It's happened quite a few times.
And therefore the scheme may not exist any longer.
Then you will have to use your PAN number, your email ID, your name to do a search with a depository NSDL. So you can send an email to the registered mail ID of NSDL, and they send you a consolidated statement across different advisors, different time frames, 42 asset management companies all put together, all demat accounts put together. They give you a consolidated statement.
Now that's fantastic. The depositories are willing to go out there and give you all that information, as long as an investor can be a little aware and is willing to go the extra mile to reclaim, to trace that investment. That brings us to the last thoughts on this subject, and that is grievance redressal. What sort of grievances typically come up and that you might have encountered, and what is the way to have them addressed?
I think there are largely, if you categorize complaints of investors, they fall into 2 or 3 categories. One is that the scheme has not been sold with the right risk profile in mind of the investor, and the risks have not been highlighted, and there's a mismatch between the expectation and the risk return profile of the scheme, which generally has been addressed by the color coding which the regulator has indicated, so that if investor is aware, but I meet so many investors and they don't know what colors signify. So it's important for an investor, before he starts investing in mutual funds, understands the color coding and then categorizes each scheme as per the risk.
Okay, all right. So in case there are any of these issues, whom should the investor approach? Should he take it up with the AMC, in which case can the AMC just wash its hands off and say that, that's between you and the distributor?
No, what happens is there is, SEBI has actually, like you have the ombudsman for banks, there is courts, which is the setup entity which the regulator has set up for any complaints on mutual funds or its distributors as well. So if there is a mis-selling, if there is a service issue with an asset management company, if there is some dividends which have not reached you on time and you're making a claim on them because they didn't deposit the dividend in your account, there could be several reasons why you have a grievance with either the asset management company or the distributor who gave you that scheme. Scores becomes your one-stop shop to put up all the complaints and get them addressed, and you can track them online. Your complaint status
scores.
Scores.
And you can approach and register a complaint online, or do you have to drop in a letter?
No, the good part is logistically it's not so difficult. You can put up a complaint online, and the technological support and the platform is reasonably good if you actually explored that platform.
All right, Feroze, fantastic. Thank you so much. And this is very helpful. It demystifies a lot of the fine print elements that nobody really wants to read because, you know, it's easier to listen to it from an expert like yourself than to go through the fine print. Thanks very much. Very helpful. All right, that's where we take your leave on this week's edition of Money, Money, Money. Any feedback, questions, queries, welcome. As always, we'll see you again next week.